"You canceled my trip?" I whispered. "You wouldn't have fit in anyway." My dad shrugged. "So I canceled everything." I stood frozen, gripping the edge of the kitchen counter as the words settled in like a punch to the chest. My fingers trembled, knuckles white from the pressure, while my parents sat calmly at the table like they hadn't just dropped a bomb on me. "You canceled my trip," I said, barely louder than a whisper, but the tension behind my voice was unmistakable. My father leaned back in his chair, smugness radiating from his every movement. A twisted grin spread across his face. "You weren't going anyway," he chuckled, sipping his coffee like it was any other morning. I swallowed hard, trying to stay composed. Across from him, my mother wore that all-too-familiar guilty expression, the one she always slipped into whenever she silently backed one of his heartless decisions, but didn't want to take full responsibility. "You spent my savings," I said slowly, making sure every word landed with weight. She rolled her eyes and exhaled dramatically, flicking her hand in the air. "Oh, stop being so dramatic," she muttered. "It was just a vacation. We thought you'd understand." Understand. That was always the word they used when they crossed the line and expected me to sit there and accept it without protest. I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app. The numbers confirmed my worst fear. Years of carefully saved money gone. Every dime I had put away for this trip. Flights, lodging, excursions, meticulously planned and now stolen for their personal getaway. My jaw locked. "So where are you going, exactly?" I asked. My dad let out another laugh, pushing his chair back and standing. "Someplace nice," he said smugly. "First-class flights, a luxury cruise, the whole package. You wouldn't have fit in, Mason. Not really your thing." My mother followed suit, rising to her feet and giving my arm a gentle pat like I was a toddler grieving over a toy. "You'll get over it, sweetheart." That was it. That was the moment something snapped inside me. I forced a smile and nodded. "You know what? You're absolutely right." They both visibly relaxed. They assumed I was giving in, just like I always did. But they had no idea. Every single booking, flight, cruise, hotel was under my name. And they had absolutely no clue what I was about to do. I pulled out my phone again, navigating to my email and pulling up the trip confirmations. My screen lit up with details of their extravagant retreat. I tilted the display slightly so they could see. "Look at this," I mused. "Your flights, your cruise, your little adventure." My mother's face stiffened. Her smile faltered. My father's confident grin lost some of its edge. I tapped on the airline's app first. The itinerary loaded instantly. First-class seats, just like he'd bragged about. Non-refundable. Yes. But cancelable. Also yes. One tap. Just one. Cancellation confirmed. A red banner flashed across the screen. My mother gasped, "What are you doing?" I barely acknowledged her as I switched to the cruise line's portal. A luxury suite, prepaid excursions, fine dining. They really had spared no expense with my money. One by one I canceled each item. Refund request submitted. My father's face drained of color. "You wouldn't dare," he muttered, but the bravado was gone. I turned the screen toward him and confirmed the final cancellation. Too late. He lunged for my phone, but I pulled it back just in time. "Nope," I said, shaking my head. "See, Dad, I do belong on that trip. I paid for it. And since you were dumb enough to use my name for everything, I have full control." My mother covered her mouth, panic blooming in her eyes. "But what about us?" she gasped. "We're supposed to leave in a few hours." I shrugged. "Sounds like a you problem." My dad's eyes narrowed, his nostrils flaring. "You selfish little," I laughed bitterly. "Selfish. You drained my savings and expected me to smile about it." His fists clenched, fury radiating off him. But I wasn't finished. I opened my banking app again and scrolled until I found the cruise transaction. One tap. Dispute charge. Report as unauthorized. My mom let out a strangled cry. "No, no, no. Oh, and by the way," I said casually, "high-end cruise companies don't take fraud lightly. You get flagged. Permanently." My dad's face turned a furious shade of red. "You little, careful," I warned, raising a finger. "Say something you'll regret." He bristled but said nothing. My mother's voice cracked. "How could you do this to us?" I met her gaze, calm and cold. "You did this to yourselves." Their entire vacation was toast. No flights, no cruise, no money, nothing. And the best part, I added, grinning, I'm not done. She fumbled for her phone, dialing the airline in a frenzy. There has to be a way, she muttered. Maybe they can fix it, rebook something. Sure, I replied flatly. Maybe you can pay for it yourselves. Her eyes widened. You know we can't afford that. I crossed my arms. Then maybe you shouldn't have stolen from me. My dad was stiff, barely holding back his rage. Ungrateful brat, I tilted my head. Sorry, what was that? Say it again, louder. He stayed silent, teeth grinding. My mom scrolled desperately through her inbox, searching for loopholes, but it was useless. The damage was done. The only sound in the kitchen was her frantic tapping on the screen. My dad stood still, a volcano of anger barely restrained. You think this is funny? He spat. I leaned against the counter. Absolutely. Watching you scramble after screwing me over. Best entertainment I've had in years. My mother's head snapped up, eyes glassy with tears. We didn't think you'd react like this. Oh, I raised a brow. And how exactly did you expect me to respond? Thanks for robbing me. Shh. It wasn't theft, she insisted, wringing her hands. It was just borrowing. We were going to tell you, I scoffed. Sure. Right after you were sipping cocktails on your private balcony, right? My dad let out a sharp breath. You've always been selfish, hoarding your money like you're better than us. I laughed. You mean the money I earned, while I paid your rent, your bills, fixed your car? That money. I shook my head slowly. This was the last straw. My mom sniffled. We deserve this vacation. We haven't had a break in years, and I have. I stared at her. When was the last time I took a trip, Mom? Oh wait, that's right, never. Because I was too busy keeping you from falling apart. My father slammed his fist on the table. You owe us. Something inside me chilled. I did owe you, I said quietly. Respect, loyalty, support, until you threw that all away. Now, I owe you nothing. The silence that followed was deafening. My mother slumped into a chair, teetering on the edge of a breakdown. My father stared at me, unreadable. I inhaled deeply and turned toward the door. Oh, and one more thing, I said, pausing. Ms. I flagged all the charges as fraudulent. That money, it's coming back to me. My mom gasped. My dad looked like he might combust. I grinned. Enjoy your vacation. And with that, I walked out the door. I fully expected my phone to explode with calls and texts. The second I left, that was usually their move. Overwhelm me with guilt, panic, or rage, until I caved. But this time, nothing. No calls, no voicemails. Just silence. At first, it was unnerving. My parents never gave up this easily, especially not when they thought they were owed something. But then it clicked. They weren't giving up. They were scrambling, calling the airline, the cruise company, the bank, anyone who might reverse what I had done. The problem for them? I had done everything by the book. Each cancellation was legitimate. Every refund request was backed by proof that they had used my identity without permission. I hadn't tricked anyone. I just reclaimed what was mine. By the time the sun rose the next day, my phone finally lit up with a message. Mom, Mason, we need to talk. Call me. I stared at it for a moment. Ignored. 10 minutes later, another one came in. Mom, please, honey. We made a mistake. Let's fix this. Still ignored. Then came the shift. The rage. Dad, you spoiled little punk. You're destroying everything. Fix this now. I laughed out loud. Blocked. For years, I had been their financial safety net. Their fixer. Their backup plan. Not anymore. And they were just starting to understand what that meant. That afternoon, the floodgates opened. Calls from unknown numbers, texts from unfamiliar contacts, emails, even messages from distant relatives I hadn't spoken to in years. The guilt campaign had begun.
Yelma.
We know you're upset, but can't we talk, work something out? An hour later, Mom, this is childish.
You can't just cut us off.
We're your parents. Ah, there it was. The classic guilt trip. Then came my father again.
Dad, you really think this is funny?
Canceling our trip makes you clever? You have no idea what you've done. Oh, but I did. I absolutely did. I stretched out on the couch, casually scrolling through their desperate attempts to reach me. It was better than any movie. Every panicked text, every furious voicemail, it was all fuel. but I wasn't done.
Getting my money back was only step one.
They needed to feel the consequences of what they'd done. All logged into the cruise company's online portal again, just to check. Exactly what I expected. Their entire booking was now flagged. The disputed charges had triggered a full investigation.
And since the reservation had been made under my name, the system had locked their access.
Not only was the trip dead, they were also blacklisted from making future high-end bookings, permanently. A grin tugged at my lips. And still, I wasn't finished. Because they had used my name without permission, I had full access to the travel insurance package they'd bought, including cancellation coverage. But here's the kicker. It only applied to the person listed on the account. That person, me. I uploaded the necessary documentation, filed the claim, and within minutes received confirmation that the refund was being processed in my favor. In other words, not only did I get my original savings back, I now had fresh travel credits, fully under my control. So I did what anyone in my position would do. I booked my dream vacation, first-class flights, 5-star resort, premium experiences, everything they had planned, only better. And as I hit confirm reservation, right on cue, my mom's name lit up my phone screen in one last desperate attempt to get through. I didn't even flinch. I let it ring. Then I powered off my phone. Let them sit in the chaos they created. I had a trip to plan. By the next morning, my phone had racked up 37 missed calls, dozens of texts. My email inbox was stuffed. Mom, sweetheart, please.
All me. We can fix this.
Dad, ungrateful disgrace. How could you betray your own family like this? And from someone I hadn't heard from in years, my Aunt Laura. Aunt Laura, Mason, your mom is devastated. She said you stole everything from them and left them with nothing. This doesn't sound like you.
Please talk to her.
Ah, there it was. The narrative shift. They were already spinning the story, casting themselves as the helpless victims. I ignored it all. Instead, I brewed a fresh cup of coffee, played some music, and kept packing. Around noon, the doorbell rang. I didn't need to check who it was. When I opened the door, my mom was standing there, eyes red and swollen, makeup streaked from crying. Behind her, my father loomed, arms crossed, jaw clenched tight. Mason,
My mother said softly.
forcing a trembling smile. Please, can we talk? I leaned against the doorframe, cool and calm. Talk about what? How you stole from me and got caught.
Here's welled up again. It wasn't theft. We needed the break.
We were so stressed, and I needed that money. I cut in, my voice sharper now. I spent years saving for that trip. It was mine. My father scoffed. Oh, cry me a river.
Life's unfair. Get over it.
I smirked. Well, so is being permanently banned from luxury cruises. That's how fraud works. His face paled. What the hell are you talking about? You didn't check your email, I said, cocking my head. The cruise company doesn't like identity theft. Your account's flagged for good. My mom whimpered. No, she fumbled for her phone, scrolling frantically. I watched her inhale sharply the moment she saw the alert. My dad's nostrils flared. Watch yourself, I warned. Don't say something you'll regret.
He clenched his fists, but said nothing.
I shrugged. As much as I'd love to keep chatting, I've got packing to finish. Her eyes widened. Packing?
Yeah.
I said, stretching. Since the credits are under my name, I booked a little getaway. First-class 5-star hotel, upgraded excursions. Figured I'd treat myself. She looked like she might collapse. You stole our trip? I raised an eyebrow. Nope, I used my money. You just tried to beat me to it. Her lip trembled. Mason, please, we can't afford another trip. I stepped back and gave them a final nod. Sounds like your problem. And with that, I shut the door in their faces. I paused, listening. My mom whimpered. My dad cursed under his breath. After a few seconds, they stormed off, still muttering about how I ruined their vacation. I just smiled to myself. Let them be mad. I had a flight to catch. The moment I stepped into the airport terminal, I felt like a completely different person. It was as if the weight of years of resentment and obligation had finally fallen off my shoulders. While my parents were likely pacing around their living room in a fit of frustration and disbelief, I was breezing through first-class check-in, sipping complimentary espresso, and watching the sun rise through floor-to-ceiling windows. My itinerary? Flawless? I opened the airline app one more time, scrolling through my luxury travel plans. Priority boarding, lounge access, A 5-star resort waiting for me at the other end. Everything they had planned for themselves, only now it was all mine. As I waited at the gate, my phone buzzed again. "Mom, Mason, please. We can't rebook. We don't have the money. We were counting on that trip. Just call me." I stared at the message for a moment. Then, without a second thought, I powered off my phone. No more guilt trips. No more emotional manipulation. No more fixing the mess they created. A boarding announcement echoed through the terminal, and I grabbed my carry-on with a smile. I walked toward the jet bridge, like a man who had finally broken free from a lifetime of invisible chains. They tried to take my dream. So now I was taking it back. The second I sank into my spacious first-class seat, I knew I had made the right decision. A flight attendant greeted me with a warm smile, offering a pre-departure glass of champagne. I accepted with a nod, reclining comfortably while the economy passengers filed past, bumping elbows and fighting over overhead space. This was what I had saved for, what I had worked for, and what they had tried to steal. I glanced out the window, picturing my parents back home, furious, confused, scrambling. They had thought they could steal from me, that I'd just roll over like always. They were wrong. They never expected I'd stand up for myself. As the plane took off, I let my thoughts drift toward what lay ahead. A breathtaking resort, ocean views, spa treatments, private excursions, everything they had wanted, except now it was tailored for me. And the best part, I had earned every single piece of it. When I finally landed, the stress of the last few days evaporated like mist. The air was warm, the sky clear, and the second I stepped into the grand marble lobby of the resort, I was greeted like royalty. A smiling concierge handed me a chilled towel and a tropical drink. "Welcome, Mr. Brooks," she said warmly. "Your suite is ready, and your private island excursion has been confirmed for tomorrow. Would you like to add anything else to your itinerary?" A grin broke across my face. I had never felt more seen, more in control, more free. Over the next few days, I lived like I never had before. Fine dining, I ordered the most expensive dishes on the menu and didn't think twice. Spa treatments, I booked 2 instead of 1. Excursions, I upgraded every single experience. Scenic helicopter rides, private snorkeling tours, even a sunset yacht cruise, and every moment felt like a victory. Not just because of the luxury, but because I had finally reclaimed something bigger than a vacation. I had reclaimed myself. All while my parents sat at home, stewing in their own mess, powerless to stop me. On the 3rd day of my trip, I finally gave in to curiosity and turned my phone back on. It lit up like a Christmas tree, messages upon messages, missed calls, voicemails, emails, all of it. The tone, a mix of frantic, pitiful, and bitter. "Mom, you can't ignore us forever. We're still your parents, no matter what."
"Chad, enjoy your little vacation."
"You spoiled brat. Just wait, you'll regret this."
"Mom, please, Mason."
"We need to fix this. Can we talk when you get back?" I chuckled, opened the camera on my phone, and snapped a photo of my view, crystal blue waves, palm trees swaying, a chilled drink in my hand. Then I sent one message back. "Wish you were here." Oh wait, and just like that I powered my phone off again. I had paradise waiting. By the time my vacation came to an end, I felt completely at peace. I had spent my days stretched out on pristine beaches, devouring gourmet meals, diving into warm turquoise waters, and savoring every second of freedom. Not just from work or routine, but from the endless cycle of being used, guilted, and manipulated by my parents. This wasn't just a vacation, it was liberation. Each morning I woke up to ocean breezes and breakfast on my private balcony. Each night I went to bed with the quiet satisfaction of knowing I had finally stood up for myself. This wasn't revenge, it was justice. It was balance, long overdue. As I zipped up my suitcase, ready to return home, I decided to turn my phone on one last time. More missed calls, more unread messages. But something had changed. There were no more threats, no more guilt-ridden tirades, just one final message from my mother. "Mom, Mason, I don't even know what to say anymore. We just wanted something nice. We didn't think you'd actually go through with it. I hope someday you'll understand." But that was just it. I did understand. Perfectly. That was the problem. They hadn't acted out of desperation. They acted out of entitlement. They didn't think I'd do anything because I never had before. And now that they were facing the consequences, they didn't want accountability. They wanted pity, but I was done playing along. As I boarded my return flight, I deleted the message, blocked their numbers again, and slid my phone into airplane mode. No more looking back. I leaned into the plush seat, closed my eyes, and exhaled deeply. This wasn't just the end of a trip. It was the beginning of something entirely new. I was free. Free from the constant financial rescues. Free from the manipulation disguised as love. Free from the belief that I owed them everything just because they were my parents. They had made their choice, and now I had made mine.